Hey guys, it's me, How About Maybe, and today I'm going to go through every single killer in the game and give you a perk I would recommend on them. This is not going to be a meta perk, it's not going to be all pain res, corrupt interventions, no ed. I'm going to suggest some more perks that you might not think to run on some killers. So, although they're not uncommon, all of them, but I think some of them will surprise you. For Trapper, I think Hex Pentimento is actually kind of underrated on him. You lack, like, the best mobility to go light up the totems. Other than that, though, you are a beast when it comes to Hex Pentimento, because you can already use this with another Hex, trap up the original Hex. They gotta spend time disarming the trap and then cleansing your Hex, and they disarm that trap. Obviously, you can go harass them with it. And then, well, they cleanse that Hex. Guess what? You relight it, you reset that trap. Now they got to do that all over again, and it provides a really good slowdown, especially with something like Undying or Throw the Hunt. And they can't just ignore your totems because those Hexes can be very strong. So, yeah. That's why I suggest you use Pentimento. At least on a build in Trapper, you don't need to use it every game. For Wraith, Coup de Grace makes your speed out of Cloak and Lunge a lot better. It makes it at some longer palettes, like the one in the RPD library, or like long Macmillan tiles, much easier to play around. Obviously, if the Survivor just holds W as well, you catch up faster from those tiles and can swing faster with this. Lunge to them sooner. So it just helps you get some more hits. Also, you're going to see that perk a lot. Just saying. For Hillbilly, Friends Till the End seems kind of weird at first. You haven't insta-down Chainsaw. Why would you use this perk when you can insta-down Chainsaw? Well, one of the things that is so good about Friends Till the End is not just the insta-down. It is that aura reveal and the scream. So this perk is so good on high mobility killers like Hillbilly because one, people will often run one or two perks that help with stealth, like Distortion and Calm Spirit. Calm Spirit's not all too common, but sometimes you'll see a Calm Spirit. People very rarely run Distortion and Calm Spirit. Calm Spirit stops them from screaming, and Distortion prevents their aura from being seen. So this circumvents both those perks on many survivors. And the insta-down is nice, especially if the survivor's playing around windows. Now you can use Bamboozle, but if you're able to get a hit on them, they'll just instant down them even if they're vaulting a window. Now that's a bit more of a, it's just like everything goes right situation, but it's going to come up enough times where I think it's still worth it. The information alone is completely worth running this perk on. Like, this perk is really good on Hillbilly. On Nurse, I don't know really... Oh, I still have a cake. Okay, apologies. I don't know what else to say. Aura Read's really good on her, so I picked I'm All Ears to help in Chase. After this thing's buff, especially, it's really, really good. Basically, if a survivor performs a rushed action within 48 meters from you, they have their aura revealed for 8 seconds. This can be out of a locker or just a vault. So it helps you kind of just, like, in Chase, if you use this perk on Nurse, it becomes a point-and-click adventure game. So that's really why it's so good. You just see their aura, teleport to them, and yeah. So Aura Read in general is really good on Nurse, but I picked this one because it wasn't as used as other Aura Read, I believe. Though it's pretty common on Nurse. And also it did recently get buffed. For Huntress, we have Darkness Revealed. Now the reason I think this perk is better on Huntress than it is on many other killers in the game is one, she is one of the only killers in the game who is naturally going to open lockers. Other killers, you have to go out of your way to open lockers. It's not necessarily the best on Trapper or Hag. You don't want to spend that time opening lockers to find survivors. You want to spend that time setting up traps. But Huntress, she's going to have to open lockers to get hatchets in the first place all throughout the game, so this really helps. And this is also a perk that was buffed in the Tomb Raider update. So its time got extended. So yeah, it's much better than it used to be. It bit bad on some maps, but after the extension, again, there's a higher chance survivors run by lockers in the time this perk is active. So yeah. For Michael Myers, I picked coup de grace. So, in Tier 1, Myers has a very bad lunge. This is not when you want to use coup de grace. You want to get out of Tier 1 as soon as possible. And it makes your Tier 2 swings... No, lunge is a lot better. But the reason I picked this is because Myers already has a very, very long Tier 3 lunge. His lunge is extended by default a little bit than normal killers when he's in Tier 3, as is his vaulting speed. I mean, his vaulting speed's also on normal in Tier 2, which is why I picked this over Bamboozle. As this one's not as used as Myers, but this is really good. You should use this perk on Myers. It's 1 or 2 to 3 games. I think you'll find it works pretty well. For Hag, my biggest problem with this killer is the fact that she's 110, and batteries included really helps with that. You're going to be losing gens anyway when you're setting up with this killer, and this makes triggering your traps much worse for the survivors because you'll be 115 around gens, which means you're actually kind of a threat in chase, whereas normally it's kind of easy if they run you to any area where you don't have traps to loop this killer, like, extremely much so. So, yeah. That's why I think batteries included is really, really good on Hag. Especially. For Doctor, it might seem a bit weird that I'm doing Discordance of the killer that's all about information. But, this helps get survivors' madness up. It's guaranteed you get at least 2 survivors if you blast your generator that is discordanced. And you'll get their madness levels up more and more. And madness leads to skill checks, it leads to more information because they have the illusionary doctors that come with some of the add-ons. It leads to slowdown if you can get people into Tier 3 more and more, which is why I generally think that Discordance is actually pretty good on Doctor, because you don't just want to use the shock for information when this perk's not active or hasn't been active like the game. Use it for getting Survivor's Madness up when this perk is active. That's the way I like to use this perk on Doctor. I think you'll find some pretty good success with it. For the Cannibal, undetectable perks are really good on chainsaw killers. I say especially this one because he can keep going, so he can down multiple survivors in one sweep of his chainsaw, or one volley of chainball sweeps. Sorry, not chainball, chainsaw sweeps. So Tinkerer not only gives you some pretty good information, it also really helps you to get downs much more with this killer. So yeah, I'd highly recommend it on Bubba. For the Nightmare, you're going to be surprised. It's coup de grace again. So when you use your snares, the survivor is slowed down a bit. It's not anything too drastic, so I'd really use it in like narrow corridors and like a little bit away from windows. But at some pallet loops, say they have to hit the snare, a lot of the time you'll find they can still make the pallet, but with coup, now they don't make the pallet. With the slowdown and coup de grace, where either one would be insufficient of getting a hit normally, they pair together to get you some nice hits as this killer. Yeah. Personally, I think it's a decent perk on Friday. I understand that he's a bit of a weak killer. You might want to leave some room for more slowdown later on, and Bamboozle also works well on him. For Pig, this perk is freaking nasty. It's so nasty. You can crouch down or just have survivors be out at your terror radius on a big map. They will scream if they have a head trap on. And when a survivor screams, what happens is their head trap progress gets reset if they were searching it because they got interrupted. Their progress resets, and if that could get you some head pops, it wastes survivors' time more than the head traps already do, which the head traps are already really good at wasting survivors' time. Yeah, you compare this with the crate of gears and bag of gears, expired timer, and just, dude, you're probably getting a head pop. You're probably guaranteed a head pop. It's very, very good. With a clown, brutal strength is a bit of a weird one when it comes to clown chase perks, but what I find is very good is throw a bottle to where the survivor wants to go, at the pallet where the survivor wants to go. They'll get slowed down, and they'll most likely pre-drop the pallet, because the best thing to do against clown is pre-drop every single pallet. But now they're slowed down, and brutal strength makes me break the pallet faster, so I can catch up faster while they're slowed down. That is actually very useful. And it gives this kind of rapid brutality effect, which is a decent perk on clown, but I actually think brutal could be better in a lot of situations than rapid. So, yeah. It's a bit unintuitive at first, but you'll really come to enjoy this perk of clown. For Spirit, friends till the end, she is a high mobility killer that is very good in chase and can easily make use of the aura reading. If you're in a bit of a smaller map, the survivor is probably going to get it, either in chase, like very soon after you hook non-obsession, or they're just going to go down. So yeah, it's a very good perk on Spirit. She doesn't quite use it as well as some other killers, I feel like, but she still uses it really, really well. Of course, that is down is really nice on an M1 only killer, albeit a very strong one. For Legion, Alien Instinct is very good on Legion because Legion is very good at keeping a bunch of people injured. Good survivors will not heal up against the Legion, so you're really going to have usually one survivor who is injured. So this perk's going to activate basically every time you hook somebody. Sometimes not, but it usually activates. So you can go to that survivor, use your frenzy on them, or just down them and hook them. And if they're the last injured survivor, just use frenzy on them. Frenzy to other survivors, knock them down, hook them, then repeat, rinse and repeat. It's not always the best strategy with this. Sometimes you just want to keep the information of that survivor's whereabouts in the back of your mind, so you can come back to it like later, like 30 seconds later, once you've had another chase. Like, oh, I know there's this other survivor, they're still injured, they're probably right here on this gen. Yeah. It's pretty good on Legion. For Plague, she can suffer from exhaustion perks, especially. Her puke is not like a Huntress Hatchet. It can't just fire halfway across the map to hit survivors. Just use Sprint, Burst, Life, Balance, Landing. So Blood Echo is really good because Plague is very good at keeping 4 survivors injured throughout the entire game. So a majority of the team is going to be most likely inflicted with exhaustion and hemorrhage, which hemorrhage can be nice for tracking, I suppose, but real kicker here is exhaustion, which is just so freaking nice. Especially to stop those strong exhaustion perks. Especially Dead Hard, because survivors are likely going to have Dead Hard a lot against Plague. Because, you know, they're injured, like, all the time. For Ghostface, a Nurse's Calling is a great perk on this killer. He can use his Undetectable and just look around for survivors who are healing, especially if you have some anti-healing perks on this killer as well. You can easily interrupt them. It's decent, for sure. the best. No, distortion's pretty strong still, but 2 survivors are likely going to be involved in the healing process unless everybody has a medkit, everybody has distortion, which isn't going to happen every game. So you're going to see one of their survivor auras. You're like, okay, well, I know the other person. It has to be the person dead on hook, even though I don't see their aura. It's just good on Ghostface. It's a classic on Ghostface that people have been using forever. There's another perk you're going to see a lot throughout the video. Batteries included on Demogorgon especially. Now with your shred attack, you slow down. And when you charge the shred, even for 1 second, just to like tap the button, it resets all bloodlust gain. You don't even have to attack with the shred. You lose all bloodlust gain. So what I like to use this perk on is, and like I could hit a shred attack, but the survivor's going to make it around this corner, make it to the pallet just in time. With batteries included, even if I'm not charging the shred or I need to get there in order to charge the shred, I get there faster and then I charge the shred or I'm charging my shred. Oh, boom, I hit them because of the 5% haste of batteries included. It comes up more often than you think. It's a good perk on Demogorgon for sure. I'd recommend it. I think I'd recommend it in general, though. For Oni, Sloppy Butcher's the obvious, but Scourge Hook, Gift of Pain, I think gives a little bit more value in some situations. Against Oni, survivors are going to want to heal. Now, the Hemorrhage and Mangled makes it so it takes longer for them to heal, which they drop more blood orbs. But when they're fully healed, they get a 16% speed penalty to healing and repairing generators, which is actually pretty dang nice. So they're going to have to heal, and because they have to heal, well, guess what? They now have a repair speed bonus. And I'd be like, oh, they can risk it. Now, you definitely just want the repair speed bonus against an Oni. You definitely just want that. Anyway, pretty good on Oni especially. For Deathslinger, machine learning. Now, this killer is a killer that excels in haste perks and undetectable perks. If you can make him faster, he can get around a corner and shoot a survivor before they just reach a pallet, window, a doorway, or a line of sight blocker so they can't get shot. That's very good. And also, you can sneak up, especially with the Instant Down add-on, with undetectable, and shoot a survivor and he gets down, or you can just snipe him out of your... snipe him away from a gen. So, it's very good. Stealth perks on this killer are actually kind of nasty, and no one remembers them. Only indicator they'll have is the little ringing sound that appears when Deathslinger is aiming at you. Which, in case you don't know, there's a little ringing sound when Deathslinger is aiming at you as a survivor, so yeah. I'm all ears for the same reason as Nurse. Your attack goes through walls, so it can kind of become a point-and-click adventure to a lesser extent as Nurse. After its buff, still really good. This has always been a classic on Pyramid Head, but after the buff, I think it's even better. I can't recommend it enough. It's really good. Instead of just taking blind shots, you have shots that are accurate. Especially after the Iron Will buffs, you can't hear their moans and groans. You can hear their footsteps, but some survivors have quieter footsteps than other survivors. So that really helps against things like Bills with Iron Will. For Blight, Surveillance is actually very good on this killer. It pairs well with other regression perks. You know, like, okay, that gun is regressing. Now it's yellow gun. I can go back to it. It's kind of, on Blight especially, a lesser version of Nowhere to Hide, because you break the gen, you leave, and they're like, oh, there's a survivor in the area, but I'll wait till that turns yellow again to go back. And guess what? Turns yellow, you rush back, you can hit them. Yeah. So, that's Surveillance. Pretty good on Blight, especially. Because you can just go back to the generators you see get made into yellow. It's really good. Sorry about that. For Twins, batteries included. Again, if they kick Victor, which is going to happen at some point in the game, or somebody has Victor on them, which you can recall Victor anytime when it's on somebody's back after a certain amount of time, those few seconds, couple seconds, that it takes to get Victor back can be very hard to actually catch somebody as twins. Batteries included helps you catch those people. It helps you harass other people. It helps you be the strong and one killer that twins needs to be at times when Victor is not there. So yeah, it's just pretty good on twins for that reason. It's also really good on Trickster for a very similar kind of reason. When you're using your power, you are slowed down, and occasionally survivors just have a good enough loop that they keep going around corners enough, and you can't keep hitting knives. Now this perk will help you. Help you get more of those knife hits sooner, faster. So especially if they're looping you around generators. Darkness Revealed is good for information, but I think Batteries Included is a better perk on him overall, even though they serve two different niches. That's why I didn't talk about Darkness Revealed or Ultimate Weapon. I think Batteries Included is just better on Trickster for that reason, yeah. For Nemesis, Ruin is actually pretty decent. You can, of course, a survivor will need to get off gens sometimes in order to cure themselves with the T-virus, with the vaccines, and you'll get some nice little ruin regression from that. But your zombies especially, especially if there's not an unsafe pallet for them to kill them, or they're not, going head on, the zombies will chase people off of Ruin, and sometimes the zombies will literally just make it impossible to currently fix a gen. Like, impossible. If they don't know the trick with the zombies to make it stop chasing them, pretty good, especially if you pair this with Surveillance. Ruin Surveillance is really good on Nemi. For Cenobite, Ruin for the same reason. Chain hunts cause survivors to get taken off gens, so Ruin will give you some good regression. And people got to get off gens to go do the cube, so unless they're doing gens like the entire game, they're going to have some regression from Ruin. It's just nice passive slowdown. That's really just it. For Artist, for the same reason as Pyramid Head, it's easier to hit shots where you know the survivor is, rather than blind shots with your crows through the walls. So, yeah. It's just same reason it's good on Nurse and Pyramid Head, basically. Again, it's easier to hit the survivor with your power that can hit through walls when you know where they are through that wall. That's literally it. I feel like I am repeating myself with that perk. For Onryo, Bitter Murmur will help you. This is if you're going Condemned, by the way, because Condemned playstyles often use one slowdown perk. They are very chase-oriented and information-oriented builds. The Condemned builds, the current Condemned builds, from what I understand. So gens are going to go a bit faster. This is going to give you some information to teleport to Survivor, inflict them with Condemned, can teleport again, inflict them with Condemned again, and that's just that. That's pretty good on Unreal. The best, but we're not looking for the best. The best would literally be probably Pain Res on all these killers. This is the same reason as Oni. Survivors want to heal against you as a dredge because they charge your Nightfall, and for denying you that Nightfall charges, well, they suffer repair penalty chargers. So yeah, if you especially pair this with other Scourge hooks on dredge, it's very good. Yeah. Just don't feel like I need to repeat myself. This is basic of me, but Bamboozle is super good on Whisker. He can struggle at some stronger windows, like Shack Window, and this just shuts it down and helps you get to the pallets immediately. It doesn't actually increase the vaulting speed itself, but it 100% makes it easier to chase down survivors. It's really good on Wesker, so yeah, if you're gonna have a single vault, like chase perk, Jesus Christ, on Wesker, it's always going to be Bamboozle. For Knight, Mindbreaker. So this helps people not just sprint burst away from your guards. It helps people not know where their teammates are. As well, if you need to quickly put a guard down to go to a nearby generator where you know survivors are after you knock a survivor in relatively close vicinity of that generator. It's just pretty good on night overall. So yeah, it helps your guards chase more, and it helps to have your guards take people who are repairing generators by surprise more, which this killer desperately needs every bit of help it can get. Skull Merchant, coup de grace again. So when somebody gets tagged with their drone and gets slowed down, it's not always the worst thing in the world if they have a window or pallet nearby, but coup de grace seals the deal for them a lot of the time. Sorry. And it just makes it so you can really get that down, get that hit, get that whatever, especially in chase. And this killer, again, needs that help. I gave it till friends to the end, again, on Singularity. It's very good because a lot of the time, at first, the survivors will not know this perk is in play. The session will get revealed. They'll be like, oh, crap, and they'll be in the middle of the open. Sometimes, even if they don't have a biopod on them, you can infect them with a biopod and then teleport to them again. Bam, down them. It's not always going to be that way, but it's also just very useful because survivors are going to be around your biopods a lot. So unless they're EMP'd, you can usually get free slipstreams, get free teleports, and some downs with this. The free slipstreams are really the reason why it's so good. If you can, like, it's kind of like Unknown. You want to have people be weakened, so even if you're not going to commit to them, just slipstreaming them makes them get an EMP, or it makes the next chase on them easier, makes them slow down the game. It's pretty decent. So Xenomorph. Moderate Abuse takes your 24 terror meter radius. Takes your 24 meter terror radius that you have in crawler mode, already a small terror radius, and makes it 16, which is the same as Myers in Tier 2. And you know Myers in Tier 2, even with the 16 meters, which is not undetectable, he appears pretty fast. So this is really, really, really good. And it buffs you when you're not in crawler mode, because now you have a 24 meter terror radius as well, and it's pretty dang helpful in your weakest form. It just buffs your weakest form with it. So yeah, that's pretty good. For Chucky, after his nerf to his Scamper, I find Blood Favor to be pretty good. What Blood Favor will do for you is block away pallets, so you can use your dash, your slice and dice more, and your slice and dice is now just a charge basically that you can charge forward and hit survivors with rather than play around pallets with. You can sometimes play around pallets with it, but you usually don't want them to be near pallets. You usually need to break all those pallets. But with this, that's not an option for the survivors anymore, because you're a stealth killer, you're going to get a hit, your stealth, and then they're like, oh no, the pallets are blocked. You get with your incredibly feds cooldown now, especially if you have cooldown add-ons, you get your power back. Yeah, slice and dice them, they're down. So Blood Favors are really good. Hex Blood Favor is good on Chucky. If you've seen any of my streams, you know that Batteries Included is one of my favorite perks on the Unknown, and I think it's one of its best. The Unknown has a lot of good perks, but Batteries Included, again, helps you with the slowdown that you get when charging your power. So you can hit a survivor right before they go around a corner sometimes. You can just hit them sooner as well. It's nice buff. Also, you be in the area of a gen, teleport across the map, and have that nice little haste lingering around like any area you want, as long as the area you want has a hallucination, which is very nice in chase especially, and very helpful. So I think Batteries Included is one of its best perks. Here's the entire reason I wanted to make this video. Playing around with the build of Vecna. Coup de grace again is really really dang good on Vecna. So after the Mage Hand nerf, I find that Mage Hand is really strong at some strong palettes still. Like, Shack Palette is nothing when you have Mage Hand, especially if the window's blocked. But the shorter kind of more fair palettes, like the Yamoka kind of partition palettes, I hope you know what I mean. It's the one with like the 290-degree, like with the four walls, two both make 90-degree angles. There's a palette in between them. Two 90-degree angles, basically, a palette in between them. Which isn't the safest palette, but it's safe enough to where you're gonna need to be a pretty good mind gamer. This helps especially. You don't need to mind game there. You just pull up the palette, the survivor keeps running, thinking, oh, if he just keeps chasing me, I 100% make it back to the palette. And if he doubles back now, I'm going to make it to the palette and drop it there. Oh, what's this? Oh no, he used coup de grace. I get hit I get hit immediately. Well, yeah. It helps make the less safe palettes, but still decently safe palettes, much worse as Vecna. Because as Vecna, things like the Macmillan junk tiles and stuff like that is your worst nightmare. Unless you're chasing them like immediately. Well, coup de grace is really good on Vecna. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I had a ton of fun making it. I probably won't make a video like this until the summer of 2025 when there's some more killers. And even then, I'm probably not going to make a full video of all this again. But yeah, this is a fun video to make. I'm glad I got to make it. I hope you all have a wonderful day today. And thank you all for watching. And I hope you enjoy these killer perks that I showed you today. And have fun playing this game. Some new knowledge. Love y'all. Thanks for watching.